The last human in the arena asterisk. The sun of Krullis 5 burned red above the arena. Dust swirled in the air as thousands of alien voices screamed, waiting for blood. A human man stood alone at the center. He was tall but thin, his shirt torn, his hands chained. His face was bruised. His back showed fresh scars. His eyes calm, too calm. Guards pushed him forward. Behind the force field gates, the alien warriors laughed. He won't last 1 minute, one hissed. A human? Against her? He's already dead. Then, the gate on the other side opened, and silence fell. She stepped out. Her skin was silver blue, like polished steel. Her eyes glowed with violet fire. She wore black armor and carried a long blade curved like a crescent moon. Her name was Vara, the undefeated champion of the arena. She walked straight to the center, eyes locked on the human. He didn't flinch. A voice boomed through the air from the king's platform above. Let the final trial begin. Vara of Haustrak versus the last human, prisoner 9X Theta. The crowd cheered again, but the human kept his eyes on the woman in front of him. She raised her blade. Her voice was sharp like metal. Any last words, human? He smiled, a slow, lazy smile. Yeah, he said. You're holding it wrong. The crowd burst into laughter. Vara's face twitched. Just for a second. Then she moved. Her blade slashed the air where his neck had been, but he had already stepped to the side. Just enough. The chain on his wrist clinked. He didn't attack. Just stood there. You move fast, she said, circling him, but speed won't save you. I don't need saving, he said. You do. She attacked again, this time faster. A flurry of cuts, strikes, and sweeps. The human moved like he had practiced this dance 1,000 times. His feet barely touched the ground. He ducked, spun, leaned back. Always just far enough. The crowd started shouting louder. Not in joy now, but confusion. This wasn't normal. Humans didn't survive more than 10 seconds in the pit. This one had lasted over a minute, and hadn't even touched a weapon. Vara's breathing grew harder. She paused, blade raised. You were trained, she said. He nodded. By your great-grandmother, probably. A flicker of doubt passed across her face. That's not possible, he shrugged. I've done lots of impossible things. She charged again, this time with rage in her steps. But he twisted, grabbed her wrist mid-swing, and with one clean move, twisted the blade out of her hand. Gasps echoed through the arena. He held the curved blade for a moment. Then he tossed it back. It landed in the dust between them. She stared at it, confused. Why didn't you finish me? She asked. I'm not here to kill you, he said. I'm here to wake you up. She didn't understand, but her grip tightened around her sword again. Up above, the king stood. His 4 eyes narrowed. He didn't like what he was seeing. He turned to his guard. If she fails to kill the human the next round, send the death beasts. I want a body on that sand. Back in the arena, Vara lifted her blade again. Slower this time. The human looked at her, eyes full of something strange. Not fear. Not anger. Something else. Let's try again, he said. Raising his chained fists. She stepped forward, then stopped. What's your name? He smiled wider. Most people call me Dead Man, but today, call me Elias. Vara's eyes narrowed. Don't die too fast, Elias, she said. I'll try. He answered. Then she ran at him again, blade high. But this time, he moved closer. Not back. The blade came down, and the screen cuts to black. Asterisk. The crowd held its breath. Vara's blade came down fast, meant to cut Elias clean across the chest. But at the last second, he stepped in close. Too close. The blade missed by an inch and struck only air. She was shocked. No one moved into the blade. No one, but Elias did, with a smile on his face. He twisted his shoulder, ducked under her arm, and tapped the back of her knee with his chained fist. She stumbled. Not much. Just enough. Vara spun around, But by then he was already 10 feet away, smiling, that same calm, annoying smile. Who taught you that move? She asked. Her. Voice low. He shrugged. Someone with better posture than you. Her eyes narrowed. The arena crowd didn't know what to think now. Some booed, some shouted, some watched in silence. The champion wasn't winning, and the human wasn't dying. The king leaned forward in his seat. His golden robes shimmered in the wind. Why hasn't she ended this? He growled. His advisor said carefully, perhaps she's learning. The king slammed a fist on the rail. She's supposed to kill, not study. Back on the sand, Vara attacked again. This time no games. She went for speed, slashes so fast they left burning lines in the air. But Elias dodged them all, as if he could see where the blade would be before it got there. He didn't fight back. Not really. Just stayed close enough to make her miss. And every time she missed, his smile got wider. You're reading me, she said between breaths. No, Elias said. You're reading yourself. I'm just turning the pages. She swung high, he ducked. She swept low, he jumped. She faked right. He didn't move. Now she was the one breathing hard. He was still smiling. It made her furious. Fight me, she shouted. You think I'm weak? No, he said softly. I think you're confused. That stopped her. She froze. Just a second. And that was all he needed. He slid forward, caught her elbow, spun her, and knocked her flat with a single low sweep. She hit the sand hard. The crowd went silent. Even. The king rose to his feet. Elias didn't press the attack. He stepped back and waited. Vara blinked up at him. You could have broken my arm, she said. I still might, he said, if you keep swinging that thing wrong. She sat up, blade across her knees. Why are you doing this? You should. Want to kill me? I'm not your enemy, Elias said. Not unless you want me to be. She stared at him. No human had ever fought like this. No human had talked like this. Who are you really? She asked. Elias tilted his head. Do you believe in legends? No, she said coldly. Good, he said, because I'm worse. Then one. Up in the king's balcony, things were boiling. He's humiliating her, the advisor said. The people are watching. The king snapped his fingers. Send in the second blade. From the dark tunnel behind the gates, a new figure stepped out, massive, armored, holding a double-edged energy axe. The crowd screamed. They loved this one. He was known as the Splitter. He'd never left a body in one piece. Vara turned her head as the gate opened. She looked back at Elias. They're sending backup, she said. Elias didn't look worried. Good. I was starting to get bored. You'll die if he joins us. I'll die one day, Elias said. But not today. The Splitter charged forward, stomping, howling, metal plates clashing. Vara stood, her blade raised. You're still chained, she said. Elias looked down at the cuffs. That's a shame. Then, he moved. In one sudden motion, he rolled toward the oncoming beast, kicked off the sand, twisted, and grabbed the chain around his wrist. He looped it once around the enemy's ankle and yanked. The Splitter lost balance. A beast that big falling made the whole ground shake. Vara stared, stunned. Elias landed on his feet beside her. Breathing fast now, she looked at him. And for the first time she smiled. You're insane, she whispered. Not yet, Elias said. But give me another 5 minutes. The Splitter rose again, angry now. Elias stepped forward, slowly. Vara blinked. You're going to fight him? Alone? He glanced back at her and said, Unless you'd like to dance with me instead. Suspense end. The Splitter raised the axe high, and Elias walked toward it without fear. The Splitter roared and charged. Elias didn't move. The axe came down, but Elias bent low, twisted his body, and the glowing blade slammed into the sand where his head had just been. Dust exploded. The crowd gasped. Elias spun behind the towering warrior, wrapped his chain around the beast's arm, and pulled tight. The splitter stumbled again, angry now, not careful. That was his weakness. Vara stood frozen, her own blade still raised, unsure if she should step in or just watch this impossible human do the impossible again. Elias ducked a wide swing, leapt on the splitter's back, and jabbed the jagged edge of his broken shackle into the side of the creature's thick neck. Sparks flew. Blood sprayed. Dark purple and hot. The splitter howled. Vara blinked. This wasn't a fighter. This was something else. Up in the royal seat, the king watched, silent now. His golden eyes locked onto Elias. This human, the king growled. Where did he learn to fight like that? His advisor swallowed. He should have died hours ago, my king. He should never have existed, the king said. Below Elias leapt from the beast's back just as the axe came flying toward him again. He rolled, grabbed the piece of broken armor, and hurled it like a disc. It hit the splitter in the eye. The monster dropped to its knees. Elias walked toward the downed brute, chains dragging in the dust. He didn't look tired. He looked like someone remembering old moves from an old war. He climbed the beast's massive chest, leaned close to its face, and said something no one could hear. The splitter's body stiffened, then slumped. The arena fell silent. Not from shock, from fear. A human just killed the strongest weapon of the arena with chains and trash. Elias stood at the center, bloodied and bruised, but calm. He turned slowly to the royal platform and pointed at the king. I want a deal, he said, voice loud, steady. The king laughed coldly. You think you can ask something from me, worm? Elias nodded. I don't think I know. Gasps ran through the crowd. No one spoke to the king like that, but the king leaned forward, eyes gleaming. Speak then, dead man. Elias pointed to Vara. One last match, me and her. If she wins, kill me. If I win, you free her. Vara spun toward him. What? The king raised an eyebrow. Why her? Because she's better than this place, Elias said, not taking his eyes off the king. Better than your games, the king smiled thinly. You don't want your own freedom? Elias shook his head. I earned that already. A long pause, then the king laughed. Fine. Fight the blade dancer one more time. The rules remain. No mercy. He waved his hand. Begin. The crowd exploded into cheers and chaos. Everyone wanted to see how this would end. Vara walked slowly toward Elias. Her blade lowered, her face full of confusion. You just wagered your life. For me? Elias shrugged. Don't read too much into it. I just hate wasting good talent. You don't even know me. Don't need to. I saw your footwork. She couldn't believe it. You're not afraid? Terrified. He smiled, but I hide it well. She didn't know whether to laugh or swing at him. You're strange, she whispered. Strange enough to beat you again? He asked. She finally raised her blade. Let's find out. They began circling each other, slower than before. No anger. No roar. Just quiet focus. The crowd leaned forward, every eye locked on them. Elias fainted left. Vara turned just in time. She stepped in. He blocked with his chain-wrapped arm. Blades clashed with sparks. Why save me? She asked between strikes. You were never meant to be a killer, Elias said. That's all I've ever been. That's not what your eyes say. Her heart skipped once, and he used the moment to disarm her again. She stepped back, shocked. Not at the loss of the blade, but the truth in his voice. He tossed the blade back again. The crowd roared in confusion. The king watched with growing anger. What is this? He shouted. Is this a fight or a dance? Vara caught her blade and stared at Elias. You could have ended it just now, she said. I'm not here to win, Elias said. Then what are you here for? He looked around at the watching aliens, the broken bodies, the dust, the blood, the cheers for death. I'm here to break the cycle, he whispered. She frowned. You think one man can do that? He took a slow step forward. One human. Already did. Suspense end. The king rose and shouted, "Kill him now, or you die with him." Vara froze. The king's voice still echoed through the arena, a command layered with threat. Kill him now, or you die with him. The crowd was confused. They wanted blood, yes, but even they felt something had changed. This wasn't just a fight anymore. Something deeper was happening. Vara looked at Elias. He stood in front of her, unarmed again. The broken chain still hung from his wrists. Blood dripped from a wound on his side, but his eyes never left hers. You heard him, Elias said calmly. Do what you must. She raised her blade slowly, but her hands trembled. You could run, she whispered. He smiled gently. Where? The sky's locked. The tunnels are full of beasts. I'm already free where it matters. She looked into his face and saw no fear, only peace. No one in the arena had ever looked like that, not even victors, especially not humans. They all screamed, begged, tried to hide. But Elias, he just waited. What are you? She asked, voice low. I'm what your people tried to bury, Elias said. A memory that wouldn't die. She blinked. What does that mean? He nodded toward the king. Your royal bloodline was built on lies. I was there, before they rewrote the history books. She stepped back. Lies? He nodded. Your ancestors made a pact with Earth, long ago. A real alliance. But when power tasted sweet, your kings betrayed the treaty. They hunted humans like pests and burned the records. That's not true, she said, but even as she spoke, her voice shook. It is, he said. You were warriors of honor once, but the arena changed everything. Turned fighters into toys. Turned truth into legend. They called me the ghost of Theta Prime. You've heard the stories, haven't you? She nodded slowly. Every child knew the tale. A human who couldn't die, who vanished after 1,000 battles. Just a bedtime myth. You're saying, you're him? I didn't mean to live this long, Elias said, looking out at the red sky. But I couldn't die. Not until someone remembered the truth. Vara lowered her blade. Her hands were cold. You fight like no one I've ever seen, she said, because I trained the first swordsman your people ever had. No human ever. You were children when we found you, he said quietly. You learned faster than we expected. But greed poisoned the roots. Vara turned her head away. The king was still standing high above. Furious, he raised a glowing hand, a signal. Down in the arena, the metal floor rumbled. A hidden gate opened behind Elias. Something growled. A beast, massive, ugly, with 3 heads and jagged tusks, crawled into the light. The crowd roared with excitement again. This was their favorite monster. It had ended more champions than any blade. Elias turned calmly. Of course, he whispered. The beast pit. Vara stepped beside him. He's forcing your death. He glanced at her. Not just mine, yours too, if you don't move. She looked at the beast, its eyes glowing with hunger. Then she looked at Elias. Why did you give me a chance? She asked. He answered without looking at her. Because someone once gave me one. She raised her blade. Then maybe it's my turn, she said. What are you saying? She stepped in front of him, and faced the beast. The audience gasped. Elias blinked. You'll be branded a traitor. I was already one, Vara said. I just didn't know it. The beast charged. Elias moved to shield her, but Vara was already sprinting. Her blade flashed once, a feint. The beast turned its side, and Elias struck with the broken shackle into its exposed flank. They worked together like old partners. The crowd didn't know who to cheer for. The beast swung. A claw caught Elias in the ribs. He rolled, gasping. Vara screamed and jumped. Her blade stabbed into one of the beast's eyes. It howled and collapsed. Dead. Silence. Again, two figures stood in the center of the bloody sand, not enemies, but something else now. All eyes turned to the king. He stood slowly. "No more games," he said coldly. "Kill them both." Hundreds of guards poured into the arena. Elias pulled himself upright, coughing blood. "We're out of time." Vera grabbed his arm. "There's a way out. Underground?" She nodded. "But we'll never reach it before they surround us." Elias looked around, at the guards, the crowd, the sky above. Then he whispered, "Not unless we start a war." "Suspense end?" Vara asked. "How do we do that?" Elias answered, "By reminding them what humans are really capable of." The arena lights dimmed as hundreds of armed guards poured in from all sides. Swords, pulse guns, shock staffs. Elias wiped the blood from his mouth, eyes scanning the exits. He had counted 12 guards at each gate, but more were coming. Too many. Beside him, Vara gripped her curved blade tight. Her armor was cracked, her breathing heavy. But her eyes burned bright, not with fear, but fury. "We can't win this," she whispered. "Then we change the game." Elias said. Before they could move, the king's voice thundered from above. "Enough of this disgrace. You dare protect a human criminal? You dare question your bloodline, your oath?" The crowd had grown quiet, watching, listening. Elias lifted his chin and called out, "I'm not the criminal here." The king's 4 eyes narrowed. "You defy the throne?" "I expose it," Elias shouted. "The blood on this sand isn't just for sport, it's to hide the truth." He pointed toward the royal balcony. "Your king betrayed the first alliance with Earth. He killed his own teachers and turned warriors into slaves." The audience gasped. A murmur rippled through the stands. Vara stepped forward. "He speaks the truth. I've seen the old records. The banned scrolls locked in. The vaults. My own house lied about the war. Humans were our allies." "You lie," the king roared. "You are no true daughter of House Strack." "I am more true than you ever were," she snapped. "I seek truth, not power." The king lifted his arm again. "Kill them both." The guards moved in. Vara turned to Elias. "The gate under the east wall leads to the old tech tunnels. If we reach it, we light the fire." Elias finished. They ran together. Guards closed in. Elias grabbed the fallen spear and spun it like an ancient weapon, using the chain still wrapped around one end. He tripped 3 guards, smashed another in the face. Moved like the wind, Vera danced beside him, every move fast, sharp, perfect. She was no longer the king's blade, she was her own. They reached the eastern side just as a bolt of plasma hit the ground beside them. The explosion threw Elias against the wall. He groaned, bleeding now from his shoulder. Vara pulled him up. "Come on, almost there." The old tech gate was sealed with rusted metal. But Elias slammed the spear into the side panel. Wires sparked, and it creaked open. They slipped inside just as the gate slammed shut behind them. Darkness swallowed them. Only the hum of old machines echoed in the tunnels. For the first time, they were alone. Vara helped Elias sit against a pipe. He winced, holding his side. "You're insane," she said. "I've heard that before." He smiled weakly. She knelt in front of him, looking serious now. "Tell me everything, the real story." He nodded slowly. "I was part of the first mission to Krellis 200 years ago. We came to teach peace, train warriors, share knowledge. And then? Your great-grandfather wanted more. He demanded Earth weapons. We refused. He ordered us killed." Her voice cracked. "And you survived?" "I escaped into the wilds, disappeared, hid among the old cities, learned your ways. Watched every generation forget more and more, until I became a myth." Vara sat in silence. "All my life," she whispered, "I was trained to hate humans. I thought they were weak, foolish, less." Elias met her eyes. "And now, I don't know what to believe." He smiled. That means you're ready to start. Suddenly, voices echoed down the tunnel. Flashlights flickered. There. Here, Elias said, standing with effort. Vara helped him. There's an old chamber ahead. My mother once told me it was where the council met. Before the blood games began. They moved fast through the narrow corridors, each step deeper into forgotten ruins. The chamber they reached was massive, filled with dusty statues, broken banners, and a giant symbol painted on the floor. 2 hands, one human, one alien, joined together. Vara stopped and stared. That's the unity seal, she whispered. It's real. Elias touched the symbol with shaking fingers. This was the dream, long before the lies. Suddenly, the gate behind them burst open. Guards stormed in. Vara looked at Elias. He nodded. Ready? She smiled. Let's show them what betrayal creates. They stood side by side, weapons drawn. In the heart of lost history, suspense end. But just as the guards aimed, someone behind them shouted, Hold your fire. Don't shoot. A young captain stepped forward and dropped his weapon. I heard the old stories too, he said. And I believe him. The guard captain stepped forward. His armor gleamed silver in the dim chamber light, but he removed his helmet slowly. His face was young. Too young for war, but his eyes were steady. I know that seal, he said, pointing to the symbol on the floor. The human and alien hands joined together. My grandfather used to trace it in the sand when no one was watching. The other soldiers stood frozen, unsure what to do. The king's orders still rang in their minds, kill on sight. No mercy, but this moment didn't feel like war. Vara lowered her blade slightly. You believe the stories? The captain nodded. The council chambers, the human pact. My family whispered about it. We were warned never to speak of it outside. But I saw the records once, hidden in my father's datapad. Elias limped forward. His wounds were worse now. He leaned on a broken pole, but his voice stayed strong. You don't have to fight us, he said. You don't have to follow the king's lies. The captain turned to his unit. We were told humans were beasts. But this one fought 3 champions, and didn't kill them. He fought to protect. Silence again. Then one guard dropped his weapon. Then another. One by one, they stepped back. Vara let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. Her hands lowered. Her shoulders dropped. Something is changing, she whispered. No, Elias said softly. Everything is changing. But far above, in the king's tower, things were not quiet. The king's fists slammed against the wall. Traitors, rebels! Burn them all if you must. Send the hunter ships. His advisor looked nervous. My king, we may be losing control. Then control with fear. The king roared. Down below, Elias moved to the center of the ancient chamber and turned to Vara. We need to reach the surface. Send a message. To who? She asked. To everyone, he said. The truth must spread. But the palace is sealed, the captain said. No ship will be allowed near the skies. Elias smiled. That's fine. I've already sent a signal. The captain's eyes widened. When? Back in the arena, Elias said. When I touched the sand, I embedded a code. An old one only humans can use. Vara blinked. What does it do? Call for help, Elias said. If Earth still remembers us, someone will answer. Suddenly, the chamber shook. Everyone ducked. Dust rained from the ceiling. The captain grabbed his cum. That wasn't us. It came from above. Something just entered the atmosphere. Elias looked up, eyes shining. They heard me. High above the clouds, a silver ship broke through orbit. It didn't carry flags or weapons. Just light. Bright, blue light. For the first time in over 150 years, an Earth ship entered Kryllis airspace. The king watched from his tower, furious. Shoot them down. He screamed, but his weapons didn't lock. because the ship wasn't firing missiles. It was broadcasting a message. It echoed across the entire planet. In every arena, every village, every screen. This is Commander Lee of Earth's Unity Fleet. We have received a distress signal from a survivor of the old treaty. We are here not for war, but truth. Vara stared at the sky, stunned. They came, Elias nodded. They never forgot. The people of Krullis, watching from their homes, their work camps, their arenas, stood frozen as the words washed over them. The Earth fleet had returned, but not with fire, with proof. Suddenly, images appeared, holograms of old councils, photos of the first treaties, records of the betrayal. It was all real. Elias turned to the guards. You've been kept in chains, not on your wrists, but in your minds. He looked at Vara. You broke yours, she nodded. Now let's break theirs. The guards turned to the captain. He raised his voice. I swear loyalty to truth, not to a throne of lies. He raised his blade, and the others followed. One by one. In the capital square, riots began. Not of chaos, but of awakening. People tore down the statues of false kings. They lit fires not of hate, but of hope. Elias leaned against the wall, breathing hard. You started a war, Vara said. No, Elias whispered. We ended one that started long ago. She stepped closer. What happens now? He looked toward the rising sun outside. Now we take back our future. Suspense end. But far away, deep in the king's dungeon, a dark door opened, and something ancient awoke. Something not loyal to kings or to humans. Far beneath the royal palace, deep inside a locked vault covered in dust and time, a silent machine came to life. It hadn't moved in 100 years. Red lights blinked. A black eye opened. The last ancient defense protocol of the Krullian Empire had awakened, not to protect truth, but to erase it. Above, the skies of Krullis 5 were filled with light. Earth's Unity Fleet hovered peacefully in the atmosphere. Their signals spread across every screen, every speaker, every heart. But in the streets, chaos and joy moved together. Statues were pulled down. Slaves tore off collars. Soldiers dropped weapons and hugged their families. Hope was blooming. Elias and Vera stood on the palace balcony now, the same place the king had once stood to order executions. He was gone, fled, or hiding. No one cared anymore. A new voice had taken his place, not of commands, but of reason. The people listened as Elias spoke. You were taught to hate us, he said. You were told humans were weak. But strength isn't in power. It's in remembering what we used to fight for. Beside him, Vara raised her blade. This weapon was made to control me, but today I carry it not for blood, but freedom. The people below cheered, but not all were smiling. In the shadows, the machine activated its long-dormant weapon systems. It had only one mission: erase all evidence of the alliance between humans and Krullians, even if it meant erasing everyone below. The palace, old panels flipped open. Metallic claws unfolded. Plasma began to hum. Elias suddenly staggered. A cold feeling struck him. He turned to Vara. Something's wrong, she tensed. What is it? I don't know. But it's old, he said. Something below us. I can feel it, like a heartbeat that doesn't belong. The captain from the arena rushed forward. Sir, underground sensors just went dark. Something's powering up beneath the palace. Elias nodded grimly. The protocol. Vara looked confused. What? He turned to her. They didn't just erase history. They built something to make sure it stayed erased, if the truth ever returned. What kind of machine? She asked. The kind that doesn't stop until nothing is left. Suddenly, a beam of red energy shot up from the ground, blasting through the palace wall. Screams echoed. People scattered. From beneath the rubble, it rose, a massive black mech, shaped like a hunter, with 3 eyes glowing blood red. It had no face, no voice. Only purpose. Target confirmed. Human biological presence. Activating cleansing cycle. It raised a cannon the size of a tower. Elias looked up and muttered, "Well, that's new." Vara grabbed his arm. "What do we do?" Elias turned, limping toward the edge of the broken balcony. He raised his chained hand, still wrapped in that old sharp metal. "That blade," he said, pointing to hers. "You're still holding it wrong." She blinked. "What?" He smiled. "The final strike is from the inside." Understanding dawned in her eyes. "You knew this was coming?" "I didn't know," Elias said, stepping closer, "but I prepared." He unwrapped the chain from his wrist and revealed a symbol. Carved into the metal, the same unity seal. Vara gasped. "That's a control cipher, not just control," Elias said. "Command." He reached for her blade, held it gently, then placed it in her hand, carefully adjusting the grip. "You're holding it right now," he whispered. "And now, you're ready." The mech roared, aiming at the balcony. Elias turned to the people below. "You wanted truth? You wanted peace?" He shouted. "Then it's time to fight for it." The mech fired, a wave of burning light. Elias shoved Vara aside and jumped toward the cannon. His body slammed into the front panel, and the cipher on his chain triggered the overload. The machine paused, shuddered. Vara, bruised but alive, screamed his name, but Elias turned one last time and smiled. A light burst from the machine's chest. The cannon exploded. The entire mech collapsed in fire and ash. Silence fell over the city. Smoke, dust, pieces of the past. Scattered, people ran to the ruins. Vara pushed through the debris, calling his name again and again, but there was nothing, only the broken chain and the blade. She fell to her knees. Tears ran down her face. The crowd stood in silence. Then, she stood, lifted the blade, turned to them all. "This blade once meant death," she said. "Now it means truth." She raised it high. He didn't. Die in chains, he broke them. Cheers erupted, loud, endless. Across Krellis, across the stars, Elias became more than a legend. He became a beginning.